am traveling through Europe and I'm on my cell phone studying German at a McDonald's in Paris. I must have failed my passive perception, or the thieves must have had advantage on their roll thanks to how busy it was. Because the next thing I know, I look down and my bag, which is about this long, this tall, this wide, weighing about 20 kilograms, is gone. I calmly assess the situation and start to ask all the people nearby if they had seen someone walk off with a bag about this big with some yellow stripes on the side, and they're no help. So I asked the employees, and they're no help. And then I asked to see if I could take a look at their security footage, because that would make sense. Letting a complete tourist take a look at footage belonging to a store. They tell me that I need to go and see the police, and I have to come back with them to be able to do that. So I do. Unfortunately for me, there are 9 groups of people that had had their stuff stolen prior to me getting there, because it's Paris after all. And, oh, I forgot to mention that my flight to Germany leaves in about 5 hours by that point. So, for me to wait 3 hours to get my police report filed in the off chance that my stuff gets returned or found somewhere, spoilers, I'm fine. I never got my stuff back. But thanks to the miracle of modern infrastructure, I did have, and I made it a point to have, my wallet, my passport, and my cell phone on me at all times when I was out. Because with that, it was like magic. I could pull money from an invisible, electrical, ethereal space where I could buy new things with. I had to wear the same clothes for a couple of days. And on the bright side, when I actually ended up getting a few things, I really thought about how much stuff I needed. And I got away with only 8 pairs of underwear, thereby doing laundry every week or so, and then having 2 pairs of jeans and 3 shirts. Because since I'm traveling, who's going to give a shit about how I look if they don't see me all the time? The smell, more of an issue, but I'm Asian, our sweat doesn't smell, so not a big deal there either. While I was on the train, headed to Charles de Gaulle Airport, I gave myself a task which it's kind of hard to see if it was helpful or hurtful in that moment, but I went through a mental checklist of all the things that I had in my bag, and among them were some DnD notes and some black and blue dice sets. And this is significant because up until that point during my trip, I was still figuring out a lot of things about myself, and among them was how to deal with loneliness. And one of the ways that I learned how to deal with loneliness there was to continue a game that I had started with some of my dance friends that were still living here while I was in Europe. So I would plan, and I had a bunch of notes written down in some notebooks. Unfortunately, those notebooks are gone. So were those dice. I took a break from the game for a little bit, mostly because I didn't have my notes and it didn't have my dice, not because I didn't want to play. I wanted to play more than anything. About a week and a half later, after Germany, I'm wandering the streets of Dublin, and I see a store called Gamers World. I walk in, and they have tabletop stuff, they have card game stuff, and a bunch of other just various nerd culture related doodads. And as I'm browsing through all the different dice that they have, I want something to represent something about this trip, because these are the one set of dice that I will be carrying for the next couple of weeks for the game until I get home. I end up with these. These are Lotus Speckled Chessex dice. And I chose them because they reminded me of the country that I was in at the time. You can see some of the numbers are green, the dice itself is orange. There's a little bit of white in between all the orange. And it reminded me of the Irish flag. Whenever I take a look at these dice, I get a lot of sensations about the trip itself, what I learned, what I went through. Maybe someday I'll have these dice have a different story, one that involves killing a bad guy or rolling just enough on a saving throw to prevent myself from being crippled in the final battle. But in the meantime, that's a pretty pleasant memory. This is my favorite dice set for now. I'll see you guys soon. I love you all, and play D&D.